Hello YouTube, Michael Hutchinson here again. This is a second video that I'm doing. This is in regards to white privilege. What is white privilege? The fact that you happen to be born white. A black person or a Hispanic person, somebody who is not white, gets pulled over by a police officer. If you're not white, you're likely going to be arrested for some reason. If you're white, however, you have a very good chance of getting off scot-free. Now, let's think back on January the 6th, shall we? What if all those white racist KKK members, which all of those people who are, all those rioters are racists? And don't tell me they're not, because they are. All those white racist, white supremacist people who stormed the Capitol. Imagine if all those people, instead of them being white, imagine if all of them were a mixture of African American, Asian, Native American, Middle Eastern, black, if I haven't mentioned that, all decided to storm the Capitol. I guarantee you that there would have been hundreds, if not thousands, of people either killed or injured. When I say killed, on the spot or from their injuries. Combination of both. Lost limbs, I guarantee you. When Trump said red wave, I guarantee you there would have been a real red wave had all those people who went through this insurrection were of non-white ethnicity. If they were a mixture of all blacks and non-whites, I guarantee you it would have been a real red wave, because instead of the Capitol being pristine white, it would have been pristine red from the blood that would have been shed by all those people. I guarantee you Donald Trump, bitch McConnell, and all the other Republicans would have sat there and said, well, we got to do something. All them fill in the blank, I'm not going to say that degrading word, the N-word. All them is storming in that Capitol. We going to do something about that. We're going to call the United States Army, Navy, and all the rest of them, their military. We're going to take them out. We're going to go back to days of the 17th century. That's what we're going to do. That is the voice of the Republican Party. Should remind you of the days of the 1950s, 60s, 50s, 40s, and all the way back. Segregationists. Remember? For those of you who are senior citizens, I'm sure you remember the beautiful days where whites had their own section and coloreds had their own section. Beautiful, isn't it? Oh, but we are a nation, a melting pot nation. We are a nation of diverse culture and everything else. Well, everybody's waving the American flag. I'm proud to be an American. While you're singing that stupid-ass song and proud to be American, how is it that... excuse me. I'm allergic to bullshit, so bear with me. How is it that we are calling ourselves American and saying we are a melting pot when we actually hate every single person who is a non-white person in this country? The whole world sees that. I now see it. I mean, I've been seeing it, but thanks to the help of many friends, I'm really seeing what's going on, how stuff really works. Normally, if I would have been, if I had known any of this stuff maybe 10, 15 years ago, that would have shocked and probably scared the hell out of me. The way things are now, after knowing all this, doesn't surprise me. It doesn't change the fact that it concerns me. Here's a thought for you. This COVID-19 pandemic, you have to wear the masks, you got to get the vaccine and all this other bullshit. I guarantee you that do you remember how life was like before the pandemic started? People were able to congregate together and do all those things that we used to do that we can't do now because the CDC says, of course, that's dangerous and all that. I guarantee you, and I promise you, and it's unfortunate, we will end up going back to living that kind of normal life again before we even, and that's even if, we get rid of racism, hatred, and everything else, or at least suppress it on an unprecedented scale. Before that even happens, I guarantee you, we will be back like we were before the pandemic is over. I guarantee it. And it's a shame. It is a shame, folks. And people who say, well, okay, I'm a prosecutor. I prosecute people who've committed crimes. I've prosecuted people who have committed murders and stuff like that. For those prosecutors who've done that, I ask them, what makes it any different? Forget the fact that Trump was president. Forget the fact that Trump's a billionaire. Forget everything and anything that Donald Trump has, did, and all that other crap. Just dismiss that from your pea-sized brain for just a moment. Once you've subtracted literally everything from that pea-sized head brain of yours, assuming it's even that big, which I doubt, think to yourself, would you allow Donald Trump to walk free despite the fact that he gathered a crowd and encouraged them to go to the Capitol? You can't win with weakness. We can only win through strength. Donald Trump always does this business before he speaks. And then Rudy Giuliani, who used to be a well-respected mayor for many years up until he became Trump's dick-sucking lawyer, goes up on stage and says, we're going to have trial by combat. And then the guy standing next to him with the cowboy hat, yeah, that's probably the look that he has on his face after he came in his sister's pussy. I'm telling you, the Republicans, I would not be surprised if a lot of Republicans, whether you're elected to Democrats, wow, wait. Whether they're elected, they're elected to Congress or not, or they think along those lines, a trumplican, like I said in the last video, I would not be surprised if they legitimately sleep with their own kind. Brother and sister, born by the same mother, sleeping together. I would not be surprised if they do that. I would not be surprised. And they cheat on their sister with their cousins. Come on, folks. This is the 21st century. And I would not be surprised that the Republicans that are in Congress now, whether in the House or the Senate or whatever the hell it is, are the byproduct of brothers and sisters having had sex with each other, and they're the kids. That the brother and sister are the parents of a child. The same child. The brother is the brother and the sister are now also mother and father. I would not be surprised if that kind of crap happens today. Would not surprise me. It is a shame. It is a shame. I denounce and renounce the Republican Party. It is time for you, the voter, to decide, are you for the actual American dream, as in you're for an honest-to-God melting pot of a nation, or are you going to stick with Donald Trump, the KKK, and all the rest of that, say, you know what, honestly, I'm going to come out as a racist, or I'm going to come out as a legitimate supporter of a melting pot or whatever. It's time for people to come out of the bush, come out of the closet, wherever it is that you're hiding from, come out and announce to the world, or whoever you need, or whoever you can announce it to, where you stand. Are you going to stand and fight for racism, or are you going to stand and fight to be an inclusive nation, a mixture of cultures? Well, I'm going to be the first one to step up to that plate. I, Michael Hutchinson, born and raised in Trenton, New Jersey, who now lives in Florida, hereby proclaim that I am going to be on the side that will fight for, drumroll please, as if it was any surprise, I'm going to fight for this country to be a diverse melting pot. I hate the white race, yes, even though I'm white, as you may not have noticed. I'm ashamed to be white. I'm ashamed that our culture, primarily, unfortunately, and today's world it shows, is racism and white supremacy. I renounce and denounce the white race, white supremacy, and all white hate groups. Secondly, but most importantly, I denounce and renounce all hate groups, regardless of race, creed, religion, color, all that. Hate is hate. Hate does not give a fuck about what color your skin is. Apparently, the white race endures, loves, and oh my god, it's succulent. The hatred is succulent. It's called Donald Trump. And for all those who support the KKK, you not only support the KKK, you support every other hate group, including Donald Trump. Donald Trump is his own hate group. It's time for people to come out of the woodwork and say where you stand on the side of history. It's time to put an end to this. Where do you stand? Do you stand and fight for racism, or do you stand and fight for a melting pot culture? Be very inclusive of each other and not be judgmental. You decide. I have. Step up.